All right, happy Monday, and welcome to another edition of Grace and Gossip. I am your host, Christal XO, and I'm excited to have you guys here with me today. If you are just tuning in and you haven't been a fan here, you may know that to my right are Sugar Pies Puppies. Sugar Pies Puppies, Paisley and Louie, have joined me for today, but they will just, hopefully they'll be minding their business. I decided to let them hang out with me today as we get into all things race and gossip on a Monday. Now, for those of you that watched the channel, yesterday we had an emergency. Scorpio Mo and I did our Never Ever Met's recap on yesterday because we missed it. I went to Texas on deadbeat dog laugh. I went to Texas on Friday and unfortunately forgot my computer plug. These locks are sending me, guys. So forgot my computer charger, so I wasn't able to jump on. But we had to talk about the Never Ever Met, and so if you missed that, make sure that you go back and check that out. But there's a lot to talk about with Grace and Gossip today. The first thing I think that I want to get into is I believe that every day we have an update. Every day there's an update on the Diddy trial. In this picture, we see his former assistant, Capricorn, him and Cassie, and that was huge. There he is with Kid Cudi and Capricorn, and it has continued on with a person that used to work with him under the pseudonym Mia. All types of other celebrities being named in the case. There was a reference to a picture of Serena Williams and Rihanna. It is a convoluted mess of disgusting information. Hey, you there, says, do your locks get caught in your earrings? Not necessarily my earrings, but you guys, I am kind of freaking out. If anyone has locks and share with me their journey, I have lost at this point 4 locks, and it's making me very concerned. I lost one today. I had lost 3, and then I lost one today, and I'm just like, okay, at this point, I'm about to put these things up in a braided bun and never touch them again. I don't know what's going on, but I just am freaking out. So if you know anybody, if you're in Georgia and you are familiar with like the Snellville area and you know someone that is a loctician, please send them my way. I'm trying to find a loctician that's a little closer to me. You may need to combine them. I don't want to combine them, I like them to be thin. But I don't want to keep losing locks. I don't want to keep losing locks because this has got me kind of freaking out. So anyway, I appreciate that either. And if I have to combine them, I will. I really don't want to. Because the whole reason of getting them, I want them to be thin so I could they're really versatile. But right now, versatile means they're coming out. But I was like that with hair. When I was hair, it just freaks me out because I don't want to be walking around with bald spots in my head. So in any case, back to the trial. What I want to talk about briefly before moving on to Real Housewives of Atlanta is this case has really taught me that there is still such we still live in a very oppressive patriarchal society, right? It's interesting to me the arguments that we see happening online, people being very apt to blame Cassie for the fact that she didn't leave. And the reality is there are numerous women. There have always been women dealing with domestic violence, right? And I don't know why we believe that when a woman is in a domestic violence situation, but the man has money, that all of a sudden she should be more apt to leave. Right? There are women in domestic violence situations with men who are broke, right? Or not even necessarily broke, just everyday, regular, not millionaires, right? It's an issue. DV is an issue across, across many demographics, many cultures, many ages. DV is an issue, right? And if you've ever been to a DV shelter, which I have, I've done a lot of nonprofit work with DV shelters and women that have had to get up and leave, situations. I myself, as a child, my mother was in a situation and we had to leave in the middle of the shelter, came, helped us to escape so she would not be hurt anymore. But it's just amazing how many people want to blame her and want to say that, because she was in a relationship with this man who was very successful, that almost as if she, bears some guilt for that. And even to the point of like talking about some of the things that we're into intimately, for all the people that have been so vocal, right, about, oh, well, she was doing this and she did this, there's this idea that if a woman is not, if she enjoys her sexuality, that she's an evil person or that she's worthy of protection. And I'm not saying that she did, but I'm saying, this is what we don't want to talk about. This is what cannot be discussed in open forums, because a lot of times people don't want to really have a real conversation about abuse, right? So a child can be touched in a sexual way, and if that person is doing it a certain way, right, that child can develop can experience a sensation based on that touch. That does not mean the child deserved it because their body responded or reacted, right? And so it's just sickening to me to hear mostly men saying, oh, thank you, Lakeisha. Thank you so much for saying that. There's so many men saying that, oh, she was asking for this, she liked it. And I wonder if these men understand the pattern of someone that is being abused. Like, a lot of times, specifically when there is a young woman, right, and or a younger person or a more impressionable person trying to impress someone that is older for whatever reason, right? People are saying, well, she wanted him because he had money. Well, he wanted her because she was young and beautiful. So I that's just the name of the game. I'm not gonna. All beautiful women realize that they are, that their beauty is a commodity. That's just you cannot blame her for that, right? And she wanted to star. I think a lot of people around him wanted to be stars. I think a lot of men who were complicit with the actions that he was doing to be stars. When you listen to the stylist that said that he knew that Cassie was being abused physically, he witnessed it, but he was very excited and happy to be around someone as famous, as Diddy. So he basically ignored the fact that he was witnessing this woman being abused physically, right? Because he just wanted to be down. He wanted to be around the hotness, around what was famous, around what was popular. And so I just think that it's showing me that this, in no uncertain terms are women protected, and people are always looking for a reason to blame a woman for being abused. I don't care. There should not even be a conversation, because there have been numerous testimony leading to this, speaking to the fact that she was physically abused on numerous occasions. So why are we even arguing why she was there or if she was wrong, right? I don't understand how that's even relevant when you are aware of the fact that this person is being, dragged by their hair, slapped, given black eyes. Like, it is sickening. It's sickening to hear her previous, romantic relationships brought into question. I don't care who she used to date, or who she dated, that doesn't have anything to do with him being guilty of racketeering and sex trafficking. It does not. She's not on trial, you know what I mean? And it's weird to me that there's so many people that keep trying to throw stones at her, and we want to have this big conversation about her, but we don't want to just talk about him. Like, that's where the problem is. The problem is with him. It's not with her. She's not on trial, right? Whether she was a young girl that was completely taken advantage of, or if she was a young girl that was, I don't care what she was abused, and she was in a way that is disgusting. And I can't understand why so many people are attempting to defend it. It's really sickening to me. Not only defend that, but this person also threatened to, tried to extort, didn't try to, extorted her family, her mom and dad. You know what I mean? And all this stuff comes out, and yet there are so many people saying, well, I don't think that he's done anything wrong yet. I don't think he's not I don't see anything with racketeering or sex trafficking. And it's just making me see how small my circle has to be, because if you don't understand how it's wrong to use your business, and the fact that you're paying employees, and these employees are carrying out acts that are outside of the lines of professionalism, to a music label, right? If these assistants were being used to provide things that you used with these freak offs, hey, but I feel like it almost goes back to like with OJ. I know that there's so many, what do you have? There's so many people that do not want to ever just lay a guilty verdict on a Black man, especially a successful Black man. They don't want to, they just want to find any way possible to make him innocent. And it's shocking to see the lengths that people will go to say that he was not guilty of what it is. I would give people more respect if they just said, you know what, this is shocking. I mean, it's shocking to hear, and I didn't think, but you know, it is. So I'm not even really talking about the case today. I'm just talking about the fact that it's really showing me that there's a huge issue with our culture. You know, we do all this. Black women have accomplished so much, and we say that Black women are top of their game, they're leaders, they're entrepreneurs. But at the end of the day, women, period, not even because Cassie's not a Black woman, she's a Latina woman, but that doesn't make it right to treat her the way she was treated. And the reality is, this is a crazy reality, guys. If the woman in her play, if instead of Cassie, it had been a woman that looked like myself, we wouldn't even really probably be in court. It wouldn't even, because no one cares. People care less. The darker a woman's skin is, the less people care about what she's going through. You know what I mean? So I think a big reason that Cassie did have so much empathy and sympathy and, you know, concern from the people that were because she was not a Black woman. You know, she's this exotic Filipino woman. And if it had been a Black woman, then I don't think that we would even be in court right now. You know, I don't understand. I agree with you, Lakeisha. 19 years old is not an adult. Let me tell you something. My daughter, who you guys have met on here before, my daughter is almost 30 years old, and she's grown, but she does not have the mentality of a 50-something-year-old, right? And at 19, a 19-year-old is a child, and you don't know it 19 a child until you pass 19, right? When you get into your 30s and 40s, you start realizing how little you knew at 19, and how there's really not a big difference between 17 and 18 or 18 and 19. You don't really start to understand life and understand who you are and understand what your, you know, what you can accept, don't have to accept as you get older. I agree. Obviously, we know that the frontal lobe of the brain doesn't close until 25, which is why I think a lot of these type of men target women that are 30 age, because they want to be able to take advantage. And I'm not talking about the legal age. I'm talking about what's moral. And you are a man or a woman who specifically targets and wants to romance and relationships with people that are that young. It's not just because of the looks. It's definitely because of the ability to manipulate. And yes, legal age is what matters in court. However, I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about the fact that as a culture, we're aware that this is mass manipulation on a huge level, and we're okay with it. And we want to ask, well, why didn't she leave? That should not be the question. The question should be, why would he be physically abusing her, and why were so many people okay with it? And why are we still okay with it and still asking questions about her? Why didn't she leave? Why was she dating other people? She was dating this person, that person. That has nothing to do with him extorting her parents. I can't. I don't get it. I'm gonna get irritated because I just, seeing some of the responses from people is sickening. Seeing some of the people online, well, this should have been a DV case, and he's done that, but he hasn't done anything else wrong. You cannot use your company that had it is registered with the state to do illegal activity. You cannot do that. And prostitution is illegal. And yes, he had her pay for it, but we know that the money was his. I don't know what the outcome will be. I don't know what the verdict is going to be, but I'm just saying the people saying that he shouldn't go to jail are sickening to me. And I just, I wonder if they would say that if that was a family member of theirs. Maybe so, because fame and money, and celebrity is so valued that some people probably would be willing to sacrifice their own for it. But it's just sad and it's disgusting. I did see where President Trump said that he had not been approached about pardoning him. I'm going to talk a little later about the fact that he pardoned Todd and Julie Chrisley. I wrote a couple of articles about that. They got me some huge backlash, So I'm going to talk about that. But I would not be surprised if Trump did pardon him, just because we know that Trump was present at Diddy parties. That's documented. Diddy did come out and speak against Trump the first time he ran, but I don't know if Trump would hold that against him, because he probably sees that he could be a great ally. But I don't think, to me, at this point, it doesn't even matter what happens. I would love to see him go to jail, right? But I don't know if that will happen or not. What's more important to me are all the people that are defending him, and the fact that so many people are saying that they don't think that he should go to jail. All they think is that he's freaky. But that's where we are. That's where we are, and that's what we want to talk about. Black people did embrace Trump. I think Black people embraced Trump way after that. He was on the Fresh Prince. He was mentioned in numerous rap songs. I mean, he was, a novelty Black people used to love to stand behind. And then, they told people that they should switch, and they did, and he made some, it's just, whatever. But it's a lot of hypocrisy in our community, and we know that. But moving on, let's talk about something funny and completely hilarious, and that is the Housewives. Phaedra rejoined the cast of Housewives. That is an old school picture of Phaedra. That is not the Phaedra that we see today. This is the Phaedra that we see today. So from that to this is wild. But hey, I'm here for it. I would love to hear what you guys think about Phaedra's return to Housewives. I said that in all this season of Housewives has been extremely interesting for a number of reasons. It started with Kenya being relieved of her responsibilities and duties on the show, which I thought was unfair, with Britt claiming that, it's ridiculous. But ironically, the ratings came back, and the ratings are still very low. They did all this because they were trying to get the ratings up. And it takes a while for the public to really gel with the movies. I will say that for me, I was talking to a good friend of mine earlier that's a part of the media. I asked how she feel about Phaedra being back on the show. And she said, I feel like part of me is kind of conflicted, because the reason that Phaedra left was because of that ridiculous lie that she told about Candy. If you guys don't know, Phaedra basically convinced Portia that Candy was planning to slip her a roofie and take her to the dungeon so that her and Todd can resell her, which is ridiculous. And Portia believed it, and they spread that rumor around until they were confronted at the reunion, and then it came out that Phaedra was the one who started the lie. Well, Candy did not want to be on the show with Phaedra anymore, so Phaedra was let go. Phaedra was brought back because we know that Candy is gone. Besides that lie, that was a horrible one that I think, I would have liked seeing her really take a little bit more accountability for the fact that that was a disgusting lie. But she said she was sorry, and she said she was moving on, and I don't know how you can really, that's not a mistake. That's something that you do, that you really put thought into. There's no way that's not premeditated. That's disgusting. But she also lied about her due date. You guys remember that? She did not want people to know that she got pregnant before she got married to Apollo. And she gave a fake date. It was one of the most bizarre scenes in housewife history. And she didn't get disbarred for that because it didn't have anything to do with her legal license, right? The fact that she said this on TV, it does definitely seem unethical for an attorney, but it wasn't grounds for her to be disbarred. I don't even know if Phaedra's still practicing law. When I interviewed her, I asked her about, being able to look over contracts for herself, and she said yes, but I get the feeling she's not necessarily practicing law now. She seems, puppies are turned up. She seems much more interested in landing brand deals. She has that deal with Snap. She's back on Housewives. I'm sure she'll get more. She's definitely a savvy businesswoman. You have to give her that. Hey, that's enough. That's enough. That is enough. You guys, they are turned up. They will not be back. But that is, I don't know. It just seems like she still gets rewarded for bad behavior, which I guess is kind of what Housewives is about. I don't like that. Hey, you there, said Nene said girls in the hood may not know who their baby daddy is, but they do know their due date. And that is true. That is true. She her due date. She just didn't want to tell anybody her due date because she tries to portray this image like she's a Southern belle. I do not buy it. Peggy wants to come up and say hello. I don't buy it. So she does not. Anybody that seriously is looking to get a puppy, there are 2 puppies for sale. Okay, that these people are extremely busy and they are now ready to go to a loving home. Shameless plug for Paisley, and this is Louie. Louie looks like a full-blood poodle, even though he's poodle and Chihuahua. She looks a little bit more like Chihuahua. Portia, they're all liars. Can we get into it? Let's get into it. So on last week's episode, there was a Haitian Empress. Has she said that? But if she really does, I would definitely love to get her. Portia and Drew sat down on Sunday's episode, this past Sunday's episode, and accomplished absolutely nothing. Phaedra is full of games this season. I've been watching Love Hotel on Bravo, and one of the guys, Wale, who is dating Ashley, said that Ashley plays games. Ashley is the equivalent of a PlayStation remote control, like because she plays that many games, and I feel like Portia does this season as well. Portia is constant. She's not even trying to be real. She's not even trying. It's foolishness and folly. And so she sat down with Drew. Drew, I know people don't like Drew, and Drew has been caught in numerous lies, but I don't think she lies any more than anybody else on the show. I think everybody on the show lies. Portia definitely lies. The fact that Portia would come on the show and say that she should sleep with someone's husband, that's shameful, but, very on brand, for Portia. The fact that that is even accepted is crazy to me. Like, it's a horrible show. I mean, I guess it's juicy for the people that have like guilty pleasure, but it's really not. It's just not good. It's not good at all. It's not good. It's not good. So the ratings are down, and Kenya Moore was asked about the ratings, and so I'm going to read you guys what Kenya Moore said about the ratings. Now, a few people have questioned Kenya about the fact that she's, they assumed that she was probably doing bad because she did not. She's no longer getting the Housewives checks, because even though, and she actually said that she still got paid this season. She got paid for the entire season, even though she was not, on the show after like third episode. So she came. It's interesting how they had Phaedra come on later in the season, and Phaedra, came on. Kenya left, and then it seemed like Phaedra came on. Hey, what? She really wants to be up here. She is dead serious. So Kenya, there's been a rating slump. It said that the Bravo ratings shared Real Housewives of Atlanta ratings for episode 12. This is the episode where Phaedra showed up. The Bravo Shade Room shared the post, and Kenya liked the post. She also added the double eye emoji to the comments. Do you guys think that the show would be better with Kenya on? I do. I don't think that what she did should have resulted in what happened, specifically because it's just hypocritical with all the different things the Housewives have done to each other. So I think that's kind of interesting. I do think this new cultural landscape means everyone is super sensitive and afraid of suit, and so maybe that's why Bravo made that decision. But I think that Britt is full of it. I don't think that she fits the show. I think that they could have stopped it before it got to that extent. But all of this is weird because all this drama that's going on, Portia offering to sleep with cast members' husbands, or threatening rather to sleep with cast members' husband, Phaedra coming back in a platinum blonde bust down. Kelly showing Viola every single episode, and Britt attempting to pull together a story that we know is a lie, and yet the ratings are still very, very low. And I just think it's because people are just over it. Like, they're over it. They're over it. The show has not really grown and progressed with the years. I will say maybe you need Carlos King to give it a reboot or a refresher or something, but I think it's just, I don't think people are into it. I think it's antiquated with the times. I think the ladies are not really relatable. I think that my favorites on the show are really Shamia and Angela. I think those were the best additives to the show. I think having a real housewife with no house and no husband is a little strange. With Portia, having her come back, because she is absolutely gorgeous, drop dead gorgeous, but the fact that she has no house and no husband should be a problem, right? I don't know, guys. I'm not feeling it. I think the fake marriage, Kelly with the fake storyline of trying to act like she's sad about ex-sugar daddy of a husband of hers. But anyway, Kenya said that she has no problem with money because she paid her house off cash and she lives below her means. And again, I've always said, Kenya is very smart. So, and I think she's also, as much as people probably think she's flashy, she's definitely not as flashy as a lot of the housewives. The only person that was flashy, could be flashy, was Candy, because Candy had so much other money coming in from other forms. She had so much streaming income, and it was her streaming income. She wasn't chasing rich Africans to try to get money. You know what I mean? So actually the men chasing her, so she could do things a little different than some of the other women. Cynthia's just hanging on by the hair or chin. I like Cynthia, but I don't know that she's a friend of the show. I don't know that we want to. I don't know anything else here. Drew needs to be an actress and sing her the intros to her movies or something. Yeah, I'm just saying Candy has a lot, but I don't, I don't think she's necessarily flashy, but you could tell that she's well off, but I mean, she has the money coming in. Portia is flashy and is looking for a man to support that. We need another Drew something, because not this. This is not, what is Drew doing on the show? Like, just every scene is just her talking, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't hate, but I also like always wonder, what is she talking about? What is she talking about? She's just trying so hard. I give it to her that she's resigned to just be on her own. But just, what is she talking about? I kind of am just over it. I'm looking forward to the reunion to see what they do next season. Are they going to bring, I don't want them to bring Britt back. I could tell you that Britt does not belong on this show. Like, just casting her because she's pretty. Everyone I've talked to has said she definitely would be a better fit for Love and Pop or something like that. She just is not a real housewife at all. And that's a very low bar, but it's not getting a fit. I want to move on. To Basketball Wives, because I don't know if you guys had a chance to check this out, but I had a conversation with Evelyn Lozada, and she said she would never reconcile with her Basketball Wives co-star, of course, talking about Jennifer Williams. And so I wanted to pose a question to chat. We've got a little chat here today, but that's okay. You guys, we can hold it down together. What would you think today if you had a friend that said something negative about one of your children? Would you be able to get over that? When I spoke with Evelyn, I asked her back in 2018, Jennifer mentioned that Evelyn's daughter, basically she called her a garden tool, right? She called her garden tool. And so I wondered, like, do you ever get back in good graces after talking about someone's child like that? She said no. They never were ever going to be close friends again. I don't know. Hey there. I don't know if she is or not. What I do know is if someone said that about my child, regardless of my child's stats, we will never be friends again. In the words of Cardi B, would have to be forever. KC, absolutely. Be forever. You cannot say something like that about someone's child and then be on a show with them again. So they tried to, be cordial and come back to the front, but it didn't work. And so Evelyn claims that when Jennifer was with this guy, Christian, she was actually concerned. I don't think she was concerned. I think she was laughing at Jennifer because Jennifer continues getting herself into these situations where she's scammed. She continues getting into these situations where she gets scammed. If you guys remember, I did the article years ago, a couple of months ago, and she had a guy that she left town and let him use her Range Rover, and he stole the Range Rover. So I just think that Evelyn was tickled at the fact that Jennifer she just seems like a ditzy, not a ditzy blonde, ditzy brunette, right? She just seems very ditzy, and like she always gets taken advantage of. She's doubling down on this guy, which is crazy to me. She's had Christian's family like speaking out against Evelyn and her daughter. I think she's very jealous of Evelyn's daughter. I think that Evelyn is probably living vicariously through her daughter, and Jennifer is too. Now, Evelyn is a very beautiful. All of them are beautiful women, right? Okay, but Evelyn's daughter is beautiful and young, and I think that probably trumps everything. And I think Jennifer is jealous of her. Because why does she keep mentioning her? Shanice doesn't say anything about Jennifer. Like, I mean, at least she didn't. She didn't want to be involved. She's very unproblematic. She just now rumor suggests that she had a baby with Game, who also used to mess with Evelyn. We don't know that to be true. That's allegedly, and that's definitely. I would hope that's not true. I would hope that's not true. Trust me, Tammy. I'm sure Evelyn would get back with Carl if she could, because that was a ridiculous check. But I'm sure there's a reason that she's not with him. But her family, she's still very close with his family, and his family has come out and spoken out against Jennifer. I think Basketball Wives needs to go off. I don't think anybody. Are you guys really invested in Basketball Wives? Who is vested in Basketball Wives at this time? Who? Most of these girls are not even with basketball players anymore. It's like over. The executive producer used to be Shawnee. Shawnee is not a basketball wife anymore herself. She is a pastor's wife. So I think that just proves that the show is no longer relevant. I'm over it. Yeah, Shanice is at a weak spot, as she should be. My daughter is my weak spot. I would, girl, bye. Never. We're never cool, ever. In fact, if you talked about my daughter, we were never cool in the first place. And that's how I feel about it. We were never cool. Real Housewives is bad, but I think Basketball Wives is even worse. I don't think anybody cares about Basketball Wives. Yeah, they did. I did hate that targeting of OG, which felt very colorist. And there was huge conversations online about that. It's just, I think it's over. I think really what now is more popular is like influencer chicks more than like Basketball Wives. First of all, there are very few basketball wives. I think on the show, Jackie Chrisley may be the only one, and that's a problem in itself. That is a problem in itself. Jackie is delusional, but I guess Jackie is delusional. Bless her heart, she's delusional. Moving on to today's biggest story is interesting that President Trump pardoned Todd and Julie Chrisley. My article says this isn't shocking considering his past. Now, I don't know how many of you watched Chrisley Knows Best. Probably not very many. Probably not very many of my audience watched Chrisley Knows Best. I did not watch, but I was aware of him because this smart-talking, smart-mouthed white man that likes to say things that almost like you feel like a Black woman should say. And he was the show to me. Like whenever I did see it, I definitely didn't know when it came on, but whenever I saw clips of it, I thought he was the show, and I felt like he was like a Caucasian version of Medea, right? I really thought he was, because he was very smart mouth and very just, his mouth was just, and mannerisms very much like what I feel like men assume a Black woman should be. It's like caricature, like that kind of, like, he just very strange. And his wife did not fit that. Like he's always like, in these designer clothes and like tries to be as neat as he possibly can. He's got his little Botox, his hair is like perfect. And she's like not, and there's nothing wrong with that. But he's very flamboyant. I don't think that white Southern men talk like that. No, I think white Southern gay men talk like that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. So anyway, they came out, what they did, they went to prison. They were supposed to be in prison for a combined 19 years, I think 12 years for him, 7 years for her, for $38 million worth of fraud and tax evasion. I agree, Casey Johnson, gay Southern white men do. Yes, that's it. Not straight ones, but gay ones. Yes, absolutely. $38 million worth of fraud. Not only were they not paying taxes, they were getting fake loans. They were in cahoots with their accountant, which I guess if you're going to do this, you want to be in cahoots with your accountant. And the accountant was creating fake businesses for them to get loans, bank loans. So then when they get the bank loan, they would pay off previous bank loans and then go buy all the fancy cars and all the fancy diamonds and designer stuff that we saw them sporting on the show. That is inexcusable. Like, so when they went to prison last year, their daughter Savannah was really and the rest of their children were really upset. This is unfair. The prison is too difficult for them. It's too harsh. This is a family that wants to be reunited with their family they're being made an example of. Did you guys hear me say $38 million worth of fraud? Not 38,000, not 380,000, 38 million. First of all, who could have gotten 38 million besides two white people, a white man and a white woman? If it had been anyone else, they would have gotten stopped. Not just two white men and a white woman, right? Their accountant was in on it. So I don't think that they were taken advantage of, that they were saying, oh, the court is making an example of them. I mean, 38 million is a pretty big number. You don't need very many. You don't need 1 million for it to be a felony. So yes, Lakeisha says people lie on loan applications all the time. I don't, it's not right, but I know a lot of people do it. I'm sure a lot of people do it too, but I don't know to the tone of 38 million. And numerous loans, like that's different. So if you lie on a loan, right, and you get a car loan for more, like you lie so that you can get a $50,000 car when your credit really would only allow you to get a $25,000 car. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, Lakeisha. I think a lot of people beef up their salary or something so they can afford to qualify for something that they probably don't qualify for. But that's different than taking out numerous business loans on fake businesses and not paying taxes. Like, I don't know. That's a little bit different. But in any case, the President Trump, the daughter went to go campaign for Trump. And President Trump said that he was going to right the wrong and let him out. But what's interesting about this, guys, is that at the bottom of this is two things that really don't have anything to do with the Chrisleys, right? Interestingly enough, the lawyer for, I think his name is Mr. Little, for the Chrisleys, he basically painted a picture that said the same system that attempted to bring down President Trump, i.e. Fani Willis, the Georgia prosecutor, Fani Willis, DA, that attempted to put Trump in jail, was connected to this case in some way. And so I think, this is just my speculation, I think that Trump wants to make a mockery out of the system because the system attempted to put him in jail. And I think that gave him additional incentive. So Trump, before he went to prison, right? Fani is still out here working, you guys. Fani is still out here doing cases. She was actually on another big case with a rapper. I can't remember which one it is right now. But she's still, and you know what's crazy, Lakeisha? Not only is Fani still out here attempting to take crooked people down, but she is also still being seen with that, with Nathan Wade, I don't know if it's her boyfriend or her lover or whatever, that ended up blowing her case because the two of them were canoodling. She hired him to take care of, with that subordinate. She's still out here being videoed. Yes, girl. Yes, they're still being photographed together. I have no idea why she did that. No idea. And even if you did that and got caught, why would you still be moving around with him? But her daughter caught a DUI case and she showed up with him. And then they were seen traveling together again. So they almost like went at each other on the stand, claiming that they weren't together, but they obviously are. They're obviously not afraid to be seen in plain sight together. So that's crazy to me. She had an affair with her employee that messed up the whole investigation and then continued to see the employee. So, but anyway, Trump also, the Chrisleys got away with not paying taxes, right? You guys remember when Trump ran the first time and Hillary Clinton was trying to throw all the dirt she could at him. And she kept saying, oh, well, you know, he hasn't paid his business taxes. You know, his business taxes are fraudulent. But he was able to get away with them through knowing some loopholes, which I will tell you most really wealthy people do know loopholes, which is why they're wealthy and the rest of us are not. It is because they know how to work the system. And so he said, well, that just proves I'm smart. So with him making that statement, I'm going to assume that he probably felt like looking at the Chrisleys, like, these people are smart. I should get him out of jail. I think, and that makes me concerned that he may pardon Diddy. I think he may pardon Diddy, guys. I really do. I think he will pardon him because, you know, have a history, and he let out Larry Hoover. Very random. So I guess like all the people that Rick Ross sang about are out now. Big Meech, Larry Hoover, everybody's out. Not sure if Rick Ross is going to go offer him some money to get on a rap record with him, but Larry Hoover is out. Like a gang member from the 80s. He pardoned him. Very strange. Anyway, I think that he will pardon Diddy. That's just, I don't want him to, but I just feel like, well, now I hope, because the Chrisley's crime was, you know, white collar crime, fraud, tax evasion, very different than, you know, pulling a woman by the hair through the house, dragging her by her hair through the house and beating her. But I'm not sure. Hey, Marlene. Yes, Larry Hoover created the gangster disciples, but he was pardoned. He was pardoned. So, I mean, he'd been in jail a really long time. So my thing is, the Chrisleys were barely in jail for 2 years, barely, not even 2 years, on that 12-year and 7-year sentence. And they're both out and about to go back on the reality circuit. You guys know they're going to be back on reality TV ASAP. Interestingly enough, Todd Chrisley came out and said that while he was in prison, he noticed that the system was very racist. Whew. Surprise, surprise. And he said that he feels like it's something that we all need to be concerned about because the Black men in prison didn't have access to programs. Now, I don't know why Todd Chrisley felt compelled to say that. I feel like it's good. It's going to make good TV, and it's going to give him, he's probably working on getting back his fan base and maybe even growing another fan base, because we all know, and I hate to say this, but I'm just going to say it, and you can be mad at me and people can leave me bad comments. There is nothing Black people love more than to give someone a Black card because they did something wrong. You know, when like President Bill Clinton had an affair on his wife and got caught. Oh, my president is Black. He's Black. No, he's not Black. But you say he's Black because he cheated on his wife. Like, that's ridiculous. But we love to do that. Our culture, for some reason, loves to give Black cards to people that do stupid things. And so the fact that Chrisley was in jail for tax evasion, and then I think he sees an opening to get an invite to the barbecue. I do. I think he's working on that invite to the barbecue, and hopefully to get some fans on the other side. What I was impressed with when he got out, because a lot of people were saying he was going to look crazy because of him being, he has a lot of Botox, but I mean, he still looked great. So obviously he was in a white collar prison, and he was not, you know, he did not look like he endured any harm. Elle says he may have done it because he has a Black granddaughter. No, he had a Black granddaughter before he went to prison. I think that he is smart, and I think that I mean, think about this. When Martha Stewart came home from jail, Black people embraced her like nobody's business. I'm telling you, we love to give a black card to someone that does something wrong. It's almost like we assume doing something wrong with being black. And I understand that no. Hey You There says they were saying he was black because he played jazz and was a Southerner. I don't necessarily think that's true. I think that yes, he went on Arsenio and he played the saxophone. But do you know the number of black men that laughed and was like, oh, he must be black because he had an affair with a thick chick that gave him fellatio in the White House. And then there was some type of business with a cigar that I don't want to go into. But anyway, I heard so many men that I was disgusted by it, so I remembered it, right? But anyway, I think that I did like when he played the saxophone on Arsenio, but I didn't think he was black. I just thought he was a white man that could play the saxophone and was kind of cool. But it doesn't make him black. I just don't like the fact that I'll say that. Like, and lots of white men have affairs, you know what I mean? That doesn't make them black, you know? And Todd Chrisley, Martha Stewart, Snoop embraced her, but I think black people thought she was cool because she went to jail for inside trading. I'm telling y'all, watch and see. People, we embrace the delinquents and the ratchets of other cultures. We take them in. We embrace them. We want them to be one of our own. And I just want us to stop doing that. It's not black excellence. I like Martha Stewart's decorations and stuff that she puts together, but I don't like her as a person. And after I watched her documentary, I was like, wow, this lady is crazy. She's hilarious, but I'm just, you know, I don't think any other race is like, oh, well, they're doing something horrible. They're white. We got to stop doing that. We need to stop. Encourage, if you hear anyone doing it, just tell them, no, that's not the way we should do this. We should stop taking the degenerates of other cultures and welcoming them in, right? No. Stop it. Anyway, I am going to get out of here early tonight. I want to chat with you guys about that. If you are watching the replay, right, let me know what you think about a friend that says something about your child. Would you be open to being friends with them again? Is there any circumstance in which you would forgive someone for saying something negative about your child? For me, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna be a no. I don't even think I would fake talking to them anymore. I wouldn't even for television, like it's so much I could do because that's the point of no return. I would forgive you for talking about me, but I'm not going to forgive you for talking about my child. Either of them. Not going to do it. Nope. Not my children, not my husband. I'm good. Yes, Lakeisha, I agree with you. It would have to be all hands on deck, on site. You don't talk about people's children. And then also let me know what you think about that. And also let me know what you think about the Housewives. Do you like the newbies? I said I like Shamia in her role, and I like Angela. The reason I like Angela is because she's unafraid, right? She may not, they're all dragging her, but she's unafraid and she's on one. She doesn't necessarily have to have like a buddy, you know, to stand up for herself. She's just a grown woman with her own attitude and her own identity, and I appreciate that. Everybody else, I'm not surprised the ratings are down because I just think people are over it. Let me know what you think about that. Do you think the ratings are down and they'll go back up once the audience kind of gets used to the newbies, or do you think that it's just a wrap? I'm not going to ask you y'all think Nene should come back because there'll probably be some people to say yes. I just don't think so. I'm not interested really. I write about it, so I have to be, but girl, Mariah Huck would be a hot mess. I don't think we want Mariah on there. I heard that Mariah was going back to Mary Madison, which is also a mess, but you know, hey, we'll see. Love you guys for watching. Make sure that you tune in on Wednesday and then of course on Friday, and then I am actually headed to Italy for the month of June. So I will be coming to you from Italia. And I can't wait to share with you guys. It's my first time going to Sardinia, Italy. And like I said, I'll be there for the month of June. So I'll be sharing a lot of the sites and, you know, Thank you, Lakeisha. Okay, Lakeisha, I mean, if you're going to try to tell me that, then, but I feel as though, I qualify. But I will be coming to you guys from Italia and sharing some of the sights and scenes. And of course, I'm doing Friday nights and our Mondays and our Wednesdays from Italy. So I'm excited to take you guys on that journey. Marlene, thank you for hanging out today. I miss you and I love you. And I will see you guys on Wednesday. Remember, we're going to talk about what is happening with the new version of For the Love of Mo. Y'all was worrying me. Okay, this is a task that I have taken on, but I'm not sure what's happened. No, we'll wait for you to share after. I'm going to be sharing while I'm there. I'm going to be doing the everything at the same time, same place. You guys know I'll still be here and I'll still be sharing. So yes, I'm going to go over to Greece. I'm going to have a good time, but I'm going to take you guys with me. And Mo talks about it. We're going to still do our normal time. So I will chat with you guys on Wednesday. I'll be here with Scorpio Mo. Until then, make this podcast one. I love you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Remember to leave your comments in the chat. And if you didn't do this, like this, your way out. I'll see you guys on Wednesday.